Welcome to the premiere episode of Front Row Conversations, a new weekly series that allows us to catch up with some of your favorite Minty alumni and relive some of their favorite Minty memories. I hope you enjoy it. And now on with the show.
The following is a special presentation of the Minty Organization for the Performing Arts.
And I am very honored and excited to begin this Front Row Conversations series with a very dear friend and the inaugural winner of the Minty Award back in 2011 for Outstanding Featured Actor. Mr. Joseph O'Malley joins us now. Joe, it is truly an honor to have you on as our very first guest.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you again, at least, in this new medium. So
exactly.
Very exciting.
So let's go back 10 years. You were at the time, I guess, a junior at St. Joseph by the Sea, and you graduated in 2012, and you had many wonderful credits to your name by the time of graduation. Why don't you go through some of the shows that you were in high school and maybe a few of your favorite roles?
Yeah, so there was just so many, and there were like so many times I was doing two shows at once because I just couldn't get enough of it. Once, I went to sea, and they had their theater program, but then I realized I had friends at St. John Villa Academy as well, and they needed boys for their productions. So I went there in 2010 in the fall to do Guys and Dolls, and after that, it was just, I couldn't get enough. I did a show at Notre Dame. I did a lot of shows at Villa. I wanted to do a lot at Farrell, but I couldn't wiggle my way into that. But God, so many good ones from, like I said, Guys and Dolls at Villa, Bye Bye Birdie at Villa. We did a beautiful production of Into the Woods. God, so many good ones to remember. It's hard to say which one was my actual favorite because they all kind of embodied the same, mood of, I guess, family and collectiveness. And, in high school as the theater kid, it's hard to find your way, a lot of times, because in high school can be a rough place for young kids. And oftentimes the theater kids are looked upon as, the nerd or the whatever. There's a stigma there. But I was a pretty lonely kid until I found my theater group and my family. And that gave me all the confidence I needed to, keep going, and I guess brought me to where I am today to pursue it, professionally at least.
And I think you say things so much better, but share our collective thoughts. And you also reminded me that we did a production together at Notre Dame Academy of Annie.
That was it. And I think that was 2009 or 8. That was early. That was my freshman year of C.
2008, because I was at that time a junior at Wagner College, and our good friend Tanya Glassman was directing and needed boys. Roped me into playing Daddy Warbucks, and I believe you were FDR.
I was President Roosevelt, yeah. And to this day, it is still my father's favorite role he's ever seen me in. I had a great time, though. I got to sit down the entire time, so.
That's good. You didn't have to worry about blocking.
Not at all.
But that's where you stayed.
Yeah, exactly.
So in your junior year, you were in High School Musical 2. That was the year of not one, but 2 High School Musicals at St. Joseph by the Sea. And what role were you in that show?
I played Mr. Fulton. He was a manager of a country club, a very fast and fastidious, fussy, much like myself in real life. But I remember I actually chose my own costume for that show. I costumed myself for that one. And not going to say my performance wasn't good, but it may have been the costume I wore that pushed it over the edge for me to win that award.
That gave you the Minty. I do remember it was a very flashy costume.
It was, yeah. It was almost a sea captain look. Yeah.
Yes. I'll see if we could get any footage of that. So you do that show in the spring, and then we knew each other, obviously, from doing shows, like I said, at Notre Dame and in the community. And you hear about doing the Minty Awards. And you also mentioned you had been in Bye Bye Birdie that fall at St. John Villa, where you played the father. So I believe you were up for a supporting role for Mr. McAfee.
Yeah. I think that was it.
And featured role for your role in High School Musical 2. And when you heard about the Minty Awards and finally a chance of recognition for students in the arts, what went through your mind?
I remember I was sitting in it was an audition or a rehearsal for something, and I was sitting with Tanya, and she kind of casually mentioned the idea that you were thinking of doing this awards thing, this Minty thing. And immediately I lit up. I was like, oh my God, that sounds like a great idea. It's going to be so much fun, because there's so many people who, do shows around the island, like high schools, that I go and see. And I don't really have a way to meet those people. I see them up on stage, and I know we're in it for the same reason. We all love doing it. And I was like, here's a great opportunity for all of us to finally get in the same room together, meet each other, show what we can do, and just have a great time and actually make all those connections. And it wasn't until after that first Minties, there started to be so much, crossover between, guys doing shows here and girls doing shows at the all boys school. And it really just kind of got everyone in the same boat in a way, which made it just so much more fun and really established like a lot more concrete relationships that I still talk to a lot of, friends from high school who I met from Farrell and Villa, and we talk about it all the time, the shows we did. Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm most proud of, that legacy of the Minties, of actually creating friendships, even relationships that have blossomed and bloomed because of the Minty Awards. Two memories stick out the most from that first ceremony. You play a part in both of them. And it was to show you how laid back it all was. We had gone to Snug Harbor that Sunday morning to rehearse, and everybody went home. And we went back for a dress rehearsal, and I actually picked you up. I had Bobby Santamora with us. We picked you up and drove to Snug Harbor.
Yes.
And we were like, all right, we're doing it. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you were a nervous wreck.
Well, that tradition has stayed every year. But there was, and we actually have video that we're going to show, but the moment that I knew that we had something special, because the show started and I'm backstage and I'm saying, all right, we did it. We tried it out. It was fun. But the moment I knew there was something special was that first award, when your name was called and there was just a roar in that music hall.
Yeah.
But going to your point, it was students from all of the high schools there that you had become friends with that were really cheering you on. And also a testament of the person you are and of the type of students that do the arts, that it is, maybe a competitive element, but it really is a camaraderie and the love and the family. And I want to show you 10 years ago, June 5th, your win and a bit of your acceptance speech.
Oh, we have a clip? Let's see.
Let's roll the videotape.
The nominees for Outstanding Featured Actor are Thomas Lynch and Joseph O'Malley for their joint roles as Auburn T. Fulton, the henpecked associate manager of the Lava Springs Country Club in St. Joseph by the Sea's. And the Minty for the Outstanding Featured Actor goes to Joseph O'Malley and Thank you so much, first of all, I have to thank the marvelous cast of St. Joseph by the Sea's production of High School Musical. And our director, Mr. Bruce Turner, who was... This is is a symbol. We're finally getting the recognition we deserve.
And I love, absolutely love that speech, Joe, because that really set the course, not only for that night, but for really the history of the Minty Awards, and to be able to recognize students in the arts as all activities should be, sports, other extracurricular activities, all of the students deserve to be rightly honored and praised. What were your thoughts going through that moment, if you remember, and the rest of that night?
I guess the first moment, you know, going up, it's like, oh, I guess I have to make a speech now. I didn't write a speech down. I was just like, these are my friends here in the audience. I can just, and like some family members. So I can just get up and say, really, I guess whatever, say a few words. But then I guess I don't exactly remember what was going through my head when I got up there, but it was, every word I said was true. It was like straight from the heart, because it really was just like, it gave everyone in that room, you know, first of all, walking in there and seeing everyone, it really just gave that initial sense of how important what we were doing actually was, you know? Because like growing up on Staten Islanders love their theater. Like there's so many different community theater groups. The high schools, some do like 2 shows a year. They just, theater's it's a staple of Staten Island, you know, culture, I think. It really is. They love their shows. And actually showing up, you know, as young high school kids showing up together, it was like, oh, we're actually doing something. We're like providing a great service for a lot of people. And like, we realize how important it is, because we see all the immense support that showed up for that, you know? You had elected officials come, you had, you know, all these people showing up and saying, just celebrating it, really. And it really gave us all a sense, myself included, a sense of importance and like responsibility, I think too, you know? Because I think as a performer, I do consider it a, you know, it is a true, you are a public servant in a way. You're giving something to the community. You wouldn't be up on stage if people weren't coming to see your show, you know? And like, is it any coincidence that, you know, when, you know, the theater closed down, concerts went away, I'm talking, when all that like kind of shut down, is it any coincidence that everyone started to get a lot more heated and frustrated and angry? That's no coincidence at all, you know? That's how important live performance and theater and, you know, art is to our culture, I think. So
I've always
yeah,
been
that set me on that first Minties. Sorry, I've been rambling, but
not at
that
all.
first Minties really did sort of set me on a path and be like, okay, I see the support for this. I see, you know, how people can come together and how much I enjoy it, frankly. And I was like, yeah, I can make this a career. I can keep going. This can sustain me, you know?
And I think also you've seen the quality of shows over the last 10 years, not denigrating any of the shows before, but the students I've seen, you know, take pride in that these shows will be showcased. You'll have close to 1,000 people come to the St. George and to cheer you guys on. So it makes them know that there is that added element there, so they want to be proud of their show, and they'll do that extra output. Which
right, because you know, theater is not exclusive. It's for everyone. So ultimately, the more eyes that are on a show and a production, the better it's going to be, because more people are looking at you now. You're kind of in a spotlight at this point, you know, because you know that thing is coming up. You know, you're all going to have to show up and do your best work. And it got a lot more people interested in going to see the shows, which, you know, theater's a two-way street. You know, you can't have one without the audience. You can't have a production without the audience. So the more people coming to see your work and your art, you have to give them a better show. You got to just keep raising the bar. And that ultimately, that's the business, you know, that's what it is.
So you graduated in 2012 after a spectacular job in, again, St. John Villa's Into the Woods as the narrator, Mysterious Man.
Yeah.
And you went on to Wagner College in their theater program. And so why don't you tell us what you've done? You've been back to the Minties in a variety of roles, but what have you done since then?
You mean since graduating Wagner, or?
Well, at Wagner and after.
Oh, at Wagner, yeah, I was in their, their BA theater performance major, which was a hell of a time. It was so much fun. Some of the best faculty, best educators at that school I've ever, taught me everything I know. Got so much performance opportunity. I'm very fortunate to have been, able to apply all the things I was learning at the school on that stage for, every year I was there. And such a variety of different shows. I never thought for a minute I would ever be cast in Cats. And then lo and behold, I somehow weaseled my way into that and didn't have to do much dancing, but still got a solo and had a great time doing it. I worked on, we did a adaptation of an old Gilbert and Sullivan musical that was totally reworked for a modern audience, which was a lot of fun. I was able to go to Amsterdam and take a theater intensive there for 2 weeks through the school, which was a great time. And, since they're so close to where we are in the city, essentially, senior year, they would bring in casting directors, people to do workshops with the senior class to give them that real talk about, you want to do this, here's what it is, here's what goes through our heads, really focusing on the career business aspect of it, because that's what we all wanted to do. We wanted to make it a career for ourselves. And I really learned a lot from those people, especially Michelle Pauk, because she was always there to answer any questions and give the best advice ever. Yeah.
And a friend of the Minty Award since day one.
Yeah.
Year one.
Yeah.
Well. So if you had to leave with a closing message to today's high school students, as unfortunately they've had almost a year and a half now taken from them with the pandemic, but what message do you give to them, those that want to study the craft, that want to continue and pursuing theater?
Yeah, I would tell them what you're doing is so crucial to, to a functioning society. It's like, when you're in high school, you may not realize how important what you're doing is when you get up on that stage, but when you go out there and you see and you hear the audience reaction and you hear the laughs and you hear the applause and you hear all that stuff, they're showing up for you. They're coming to you for something, and you're providing them something that they can't get anywhere else. And every show, it's a once in a lifetime experience. It happens there that night, and then you never have the same show again. It's so special and it's so important. And even if someone leaves the theater and forgets about it the minute they walk out the door, for those 2 or however many hours they were there, they were completely taken care of and they were having a great time. And you can really help a lot of people by continuing to do what you do. It's amazing.
Well, Joe, I thank you so much. Like I said, I could not think of a better guest to start this new series.
Thank you. I'm very happy to do it, Mike. Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you soon, and hope to see you whenever our big 10th anniversary celebration is.
Yeah. Whenever it is, I'll be there with bells on. You know it.
We'll even resurrect the balloon arch maybe.
Oh, yes. Please, that balloon arch. We must. Bigger this time, though.
Bigger and better.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, thank you so much. Congratulations on your success, and good luck in the future.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, everybody, for watching this week's Front Row Conversation. We'll be back next week with an all-new guest. Until then, meet me at the Minties.